again. Yeah, here we go with today's country quickly. So I've got some bone on my shoulder, as it looks also red on the camera and all that. To me anyway. So yeah, today's country is Bulgaria. So yeah, it may go into some detail again, but here we go. So here we go. Starting off with a history. Now it's like from 400 BC. It was called Thracians lived in parts of what is now Bulgaria. As the Thracians were a tribal society, and they were like good horsemen and all that, and could make like gold and silver jewelry. And unlike many of the other places,
Girls, I'm going to need to go to Tesco shortly. Do you want to come?
and unlike many other places, Romans kind of conquered Bulgaria later on, like 100 BC. And they founded the city of Tremontium on the Plovdiv, and they also built the city of Serdica on the site of what is now Sofia, being the capital of Sofia. And in 139, when the Roman Empire split into Bulgaria, became part of Eastern Roman Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire. But Byzantium grew weak in about 500 AD. Slavs settled in what is now Bulgaria. And in 680, the Bulgars invaded, led by the ruler Khan Asparuk. I think Khan it's kind of like in meaning like lord or prince and all that. And they were descendants of the Huns from Central Asia. And they crossed the Danube and founded the state of Bulgaria, and they intermarried with like the Slavs and all. And in 716, the Byzantine Empire recognised the state of Bulgaria. But in the late 8th century, the Emperor Constantine V tried to destroy Bulgaria, but without much success. Then the pendulum swung the other way, and from 1809, the Khan Krum attacked the Byzantine Empire. Led by Khan Krum, the Bulgars were victorious. Anyway, I have an interesting family to say the least. And in 811, the Byzantine Empire, Nicephorus was killed in battle, and Krum had his gold coin silver and used it for drinking. So very nice. Now in 813, Krum even laid siege to Constantinople, which by then was a capital of Byzantium, and failed to capture it. And in 816, Khan Amertang made peace. And then in 846, Boris I of Bulgaria accepted Christianity, and most of the Bulgar people followed him. And Bulgaria accepted the Eastern Orthodox Church rather than the Western Catholic Church. And Bulgaria reached a peak under Simon the Great of 893 to 927. And called himself Emperor of the Bulgars and the Greeks. The Pope recognised him, but Byzantine Empire Emperor did not. And in the late 10th century, Bulgaria declined, and in 971, the Byzantine charge, please. And then Byzantines took the capital Preslav, along with the largest parts of eastern Bulgaria, and finally in 1014, after the Battle of Bedasita, the Byzantines captured 15,000 Bulgars, and out of every 100 men, 99 were blinded and one was left with one eye to lead the others home. And in 1018, Bulgaria became part of the Byzantine Empire. As the Byzantines ruled Bulgaria up until 1185, as the heavy taxation provoked rebellion, and a new Bulgarian kingdom was founded with a capital in Trnava. And in 1202, the Byzantines accepted the situation and made peace. And then in 1204, the Crusaders captured Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. And the Crusaders claimed that the Bulgars were their vassal, however the Bulgars defeated them in battle. And the Second Bulgarian Kingdom reached its peak under Ivan Asen II of 1218 to 1241, and Bulgaria became more prosperous and powerful from there. And the second, however, the Bulgarians had many powerful enemies, and in 1330 the Bulgarians were defeated by Serbians at the Battle of Buzzard, and Bulgaria was under temporary Serbian domination. And from the 10th century to the 15th century, a religious sect called the Bogomils flourished in Bulgaria, and the Bogomils were probably named after an 8th century priest named Bogomil, as Bogomils were dualists, and was an old belief in the Middle East that there were two gods, one good and one evil, and the evil god created the material world, while the good God created the spiritual one. And the belief into Bulgarian took some of the Christian elements, as the Bogomils believe that Satan created the material universe while God made the soul. And the Bogomils did not believe in incarnation, a doctrine that God became a man known as Jesus. They did not believe in infant baptism or in the Eucharist, sharing bread at Mass. They also rejected the whole organisation of the Orthodox Church. Leaders of the Bogomils led austere lives, and they abstained from marriage, eating meat and drinking wine. However, the fellows did not have such restrictions on them, and the Bogomil sect spread into the Byzantine Empire and other parts of southeastern Europe, but it died out after the Turks kind of conquered the area by none other than the Ottoman Turks, as who were rising in power in the region in the 14th century. And in 1393 they captured Trnava, and all Bulgarian resistance to the Turks ended in 3 years later in 1396, and Bulgaria was under Turkish rule for nearly 500 years. But nonetheless, the Bulgarians had to pay taxes to the Turks, and they also surrendered their sons at intervals. The Turks would take the cream of Bulgarian boys aged 7 to 14, and they were taken from their families and brought up as Muslims, and they were also trained to be soldiers called Janissaries. And in 1688, the Bulgarians around Cherpriest rose in rebellion. However, the rebellion was crushed and all. And in the late 17th century onwards, the Turkish Empire went into an inexorable decline. And then in the 19th century, nationalism became a powerful force in Europe, including Bulgaria. And the ideas of the French Revolution spread, and there was a growing interest in Bulgarian culture and history, and a growing resentment to Turkish rule. And finally in 1876 some Bulgarians rose in revolt, but the Turks still crushed the rebellion. And then kind of turned in 1877 as in April of that year, Russia declared war on Turkey. And in January 1878, the Russians captured Sofia, and then on the 3rd of March, the Treaty of Stefano ended the war, and the treaty created an independent Bulgaria. But the British and Austro-Hungarians were afraid of a new Bulgaria that might be as powerful ally of Russia, and they insisted the treaty be revised. And in the Treaty of Berlin of July 1878, Bulgaria was split into two. The northern half was not totally independent, but instead Bulgaria was a vassal state of Turkey called a principality, and it was to be ruled by a prince with a palm called Sabrina. And the southern half of Bulgaria was made semi-autonomous with the Turkish Empire, and was given the name Eastern Rumelia. And the Bulgarians didn't really want to accept that solution. And in 1885, the Eastern Rumelia staged a coup and united with the northern half of Bulgaria, and other countries intervened again. And in November 1885, the Serbians declared war, but were crushed in the Battle of Slivenica, and the greatest power drew up a new the great powers drew up new agreements, and the two halves were Bulgaria were not allowed to completely unite, and instead remained two separate entities. But the Prince of Northern Bulgaria was made Governor General of Eastern Rumelia. This arrangement was only a stopgate measure, and in 1908 the Bulgarians overturned it. And on 5th of October, Prince Ferdinand announced the complete independence of Bulgaria and became King Ferdinand of Bulgaria. And at the turn of the 20th century, Turkish rule in Europe was crumbling, and the Turks were faced with many rebellions, and the Balkan states feared that the greatest powers might intervene, and they wanted to liberate the territories still held by the Turks and impose their own solutions. So they formed a triple alliance of Serbia, Bulgaria and Greece, and in 1912 the three countries invaded Turkish territory in Europe. However, the great powers did interfere with that, and they insisted that an independent Albania to be created, and the three allies could do what they wanted with the rest of the Turkish territory. But they soon quarrelled again on the 29th of June 1913, and Bulgaria attacked Serbia and Greece. But Romania intervened, and Bulgaria was forced to make peace and was forced to surrender some of its territory. And in 1914 was the outbreak of First World War, and in October 1915 Germany persuaded Bulgaria to join their side, promising territory as a reward. However, an Allied blockade caused several severe shortages, and Bulgaria were nearly starved. And in September 1918, French and British troops entered Bulgaria. And on the 29th of September 1918, Bulgaria signed an armistice. And on the 3rd of October, a couple of days later, on the 3rd of October, Ferdinand abdicated and his son Boris III replaced him. And in elections of 1919, the first parties who had supported Bulgaria's entry into war lost votes, while those who opposed it, like the Communists and Agrarian Party, gained them. And in 1919, December 1919, the Communists and Social Democrats joined forces and called the general strike in Bulgaria. However, Prime Minister Stambolisky arrested the strike leaders, and the strike was called off on the 5th of January 1920. And despite the troubles in the 1920s, Bulgaria was allowed to join the League of Nations, which was the first of the nations on the losing side of World War I to do so. However, democracy in Bulgaria gave way to an authoritarian regime, and in 1922 some dissatisfied army officers formed an organisation called the Military League, and in 1923 a group of conspirators, including members of the Military League, seized power in a coup, and Prime Minister Stambalinsky was murdered. A new government was formed by Alexander Sankov, and in 1925 the communists exploded a bomb in Sofia Cathedral, and afterwards thousands of communists were arrested and many more were executed. But in 1926 Sankov was replaced by Andrei Lipchev, and he removed some of the restrictions imposed by Sankov, and trade unions were allowed to reform, and in 1927 the Communist Party was allowed to reform, and the next elections in Bulgaria were in 1931. Well, in the early 30s, Bulgaria suffered severely from the Depression, and peasant incomes fell by half, and the town's unemployment rocketed. And then in May 1934, a group of officers carried out a coup. The new government was split over to what to do with the king, as the leader, Colonel Damian Belchev, was a Republican, but in January 1935 his opponents managed to force him out of office. And in 1936 Boris dissolved the Military League and promised to return to a constitutional government. Elections were held in 1930. And when World War II started, King Boris was at first determined to keep Bulgaria neutral, but from March 1941 he allowed the German troops to pass through Bulgaria on the way to Greece. And as a war, Bulgaria was given treaty in Thrace and Macedonia. However, although some anti-Semitic laws were passed in Bulgaria, Bulgarian Jews were not deported to concentration camps, but King Boris died in August 1943. And by the summer of 1944, Germany was obviously losing the war and the Russians were approaching Bulgaria. Russia declared war on Bulgaria on the 5th of September 1944, and Bulgaria declared on Germany on the 7th of September 1944, with effects from the 8th of September. But by the 8th of September, Russian troops were already in Bulgaria. Anyway, in 1942, the Fatherland Front, or FF, was formed. Abbreviated to FF, was formed. And it consisted of communists, social democrats and agrarians, and on the 9th of September 1944 the FF staged a coup and formed a new government, crucially in the new cabinet Minister of the Interior and the Minister of Justice were communists, and that's why the fact that Russian troops were stationed in Bulgaria. And the communist takeover in Bulgaria was kind of a gradual thing, and from the start they controlled the radio and many newspapers. However, the communists removed their opponents one by one. A new People's Court was formed under the Ministry of Justice, and they wanted to try war criminals and collaborators as the support of the old regime were rounded up and executed or imprisoned in labour camps. And they not just included politicians but priests, teachers and policemen. And furthermore, they removed unreliable officers in the army, eliminating all right-wingers, which made the communists even more powerful. And the communists then turned on the other left-wingers in Bulgaria, and managed to cause a split in Social Democrats Party and the Hungarian parties between pro and anti-communist factions, and in both cases the communist-controlled Ministry of Justice decided that the property of the parties belonged to the pro-communist factions. Meanwhile, in 1946, the Bulgarian army was purged again, and this time about 2,000 officers were removed. And in September 1946, the referendum on the monarch resulted in Bulgaria becoming a republic. And in the election of November 1946, the communists insisted that all FF candidates should form a single list. And previously, the votes had been able to vote for the individual parties like Communist, Agrarian, and social democracies. Now they would be able to vote for the FF or against it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to ask the girls individually if they want to come, but this fellow already wants to stay. So would you stick with the girls?
Yeah.
I think you might work for football anyway downstairs, so I'll left it on.
Okay.
I'll give you a shout in a bit when it's over.
Okay. Fingers crossed I get this done soon. Hopefully get this done as soon as I can. Finally, in June 1947, Nikolai Petkov, from 1889 to 1927, the leader of the anti-communist party of the Agrarian Party and leader of the opposition to the communists, was arrested, and he was executed in August 1947 after a show trial. And then in 1947, the communists introduced the Dimitrov Constitution and was named after Grigory Dimitrov, the leader of the communists after 1945, and it brought in a full communist regime in Bulgaria. The communists nationalised industry and collectivised agriculture in Bulgaria, and they also persecuted the Orthodox Church. And finally, after imposing communism, the Communist Party turned on its own members. Communist uprisings in Hungary in 1956, and there was a purge in Bulgaria, which many communists were expelled from the party, and some were sent to labour camps. And after for so many years, Bulgaria was burdened with a totalitarian regime, slavishly obedient to the Soviet Union. And from 1954, it was ruled by Todor Zhivkov until his reign ended in 1989, and during the communist era, attempts were made to increase industry in Bulgaria, but remained a mainly agricultural country. And in 1985, Zhivkov tried to Bulgarianize the Bulgarian Turks, and the Bulgarian Turks were ordered to choose a list of Bulgarian names. And if he refused to choose one of them, troops were sent to enforce the law, but the Bulgarian Turks continued to resist. Finally, in the summer of 1989, Zhivkov announced that Turks could leave Bulgaria and go to Turkey if they wished, and many of them did. And finally, in the late 1980s, communist tyranny in Bulgaria began to crumble, and on 10th of November 1989, Zhivkov was finally deposed, and in April, other communists renamed themselves into Bulgarian Socialist Party, and the totalitarian regime was dismantled. And on March 6, 1919, strikes were made legal. However, multi-party elections were not held until June 1990, and the Bulgarian Socialist Party continued to hold power. However, state socialism was scrapped in Bulgaria, and from 1991 the controls of prices were removed, and industry was privatised, and collective farms were dissolved, and a new constitution was introduced in July 1991. And further elections in October 1991 meant that the Socialist Party lost power. And today Bulgaria is a relatively poor country, and suffered badly at the European Union session of 2004-9. However, Bulgaria recovered and the economy is growing steadily. And today tourism is rapidly growing in Bulgaria, as tourists are generally attracted to architecture and beaches in Bulgaria. As Bulgaria joined NATO in 2004 and then the EU in 2007, and the population sits around 7.1 million. So yeah, moving on to language. As the development of Bulgarian literary language was stalled for centuries thanks to subjugation of the Bulgarian culture, and by forces such as the Greek Church and Turkish political rule. An awakening of Bulgarian nationalism in the 19th century led to the Bulgarian people to make demands not only for their freedom, but also for Bulgarian language education, paving way for the development of standardized modern Bulgarian language that is used today. As the Bulgarian language is classified as a South Slavic language, along with closely related to Macedonian language, and due to the fact that the two languages are actually so closely related, and that linguistic divisions in the area are not finally delineated from geopolitical boundaries. There has been some dispute concerning the classification of Macedonian and Bulgarian languages, and the country of Bulgaria considers Macedonia to be southwestern dialects of the Bulgarian language, rather than an autonomous language. In contrast, many Macedonian linguists classify the Bulgarian language as a Macedonian dialect. And although many such disputes exist, the majority of scholars outside the Balkans regions classify Macedonian and Bulgarian as autonomous languages. And in the 6th century AD, the Slav people migrated from Old Poland, eventually resettling throughout Eastern Europe, and 3 primary Slavic language groups emerged in the resettlement process: Eastern, Western and Southern, which is the Bulgarian language originated from. And throughout the 8th and 9th centuries, the Bulgar people who inhabited the region before Slav migration gradually came to be assimilated with a new Slavic majority. There are no concrete records providing information about this time. Historians agree that Christianity undoubtedly played a significant role in the assimilation process, as it provided a common culture that they could all share. And the period of the Old Bulgarian language, also known as Old Czech Slavonic, dates roughly from the 9th to the 11th century, in order to facilitate the spread of Christianity in the region. And Saint Cyril and Methodius designed an alphabet which could be used to write in the Old Czech Slavonic. Using this alphabet, the missionaries also translated parts of the Old and New Testament into Old Czech Slavonic. And dating from the 12th to the 16th centuries, the Middle Bulgarian period began with Bulgaria's subjugation by the Byzantine Empire, and during this time a number of linguistic changes occurred which set up Bulgarian apart as a distinct language, and the loss of cases in a noun, for example, was a major development, since the characteristic was a dominant trait in Old Czech Slavic, from which Slavic language derived. And before the 16th century, Bulgarian texts were written in the archaic language combined features of the Old Czech Slavonic, or Old Bulgarian and Middle Bulgarian, and modern Bulgarian language can be dated from about the 16th century onwards, and the advent of a printing press in the 1500s, and subsequent prevalence of published religious texts, which were widely read and played a significant role in the development of modern Bulgaria. But it was not until the 1800s that a standardized written Bulgarian language was to be fully established, and the early 19th century saw the standardization of a written Bulgarian language, as well as the awakening of a Bulgarian national consciousness and the advent of the Bulgarian literary revival. And throughout the period of Turkish rule over Bulgaria, beginning with the Ottoman conquest in 1396 and lasted until 1878, the development of a standardized written Bulgarian was stalled around around 1830. Movements in Bulgaria called for freedom from both Ottoman rule and the domination of the Greek Church. And the movement found inspiration in the 1762 historical work Historia Slavena Bulgarska, no Slavo-Bulgarian history, written by the monk Pasi Helenda, written in a mix of Church Slavonic and the popular spoken Bulgarian tongue, and the book encouraged Bulgarians to identify with a uniquely Bulgarian past, distinct from other Slav people, and inspired a new national consciousness in Bulgaria. And while rallying for freedom, the Bulgarian people also made demands for the Bulgarian language in schools and educational texts, and Bulgarian public education soon developed, and with it a modern Bulgarian written literature appeared, known as Novo-Bulgarski in Bulgaria. This literary language first emerged around the 1820s and 1830s. As a modern Bulgarian that developed from the 16th to the 19th century included a significant number of loanwords, primarily from Russian and Old Church Slavonic languages. As a new sense of Bulgarian nationalism in the 20th century led to efforts towards purification of the Bulgarian language, and consequently many of these loanwords are eliminated and replaced with loanwords from the native Bulgarian or other languages. So Bulgarian includes words borrowed from the French, Germans and Greeks. And the language also has a significant number of Turkish loanwords thanks to a strong Byzantine heritage and almost 500 years of Turkish rule. And Bulgarian is mostly closely related to the Macedonian language, as that caused disputes about languages classifications among linguists in the Balkans region, as Macedonian and Bulgarian offer a stark contrast of the other Slavic language, thanks to certain grammatical features adapted from other language families. And a notable characteristic is the fact that the definite article is placed after the noun or adjective, like in Albanian and Romanian. For example, the word for table masa has a ta added when specifying the table as masata, and another unique trait shared by the two languages both have lost case endings for nouns, despite the fact this was a dominant trait in all common Church Slavonic, as Bulgarian can be, and these days Bulgarian can be classified into two major dialect groups like Eastern and Western, each divided into the North-South subgroups. And it serves as the official language of Bulgaria, where it is approximately 9% of the population claims Bulgarian as a mother tongue. Although the Bulgarian language is now spoken by 9 million people, most of them are located in Bulgaria as well as in parts of Greece, Ukraine, Moldova and Romania. So yeah. And I'll quickly go over one legend of Trifon Sarazan's Day before I find out what's happening with my family and all that. So yeah. As legend tells that when Trifon was at the age 17, he killed Roman Emperor Guardian's daughter. Killed Roman Emperor's Guardian's daughter, and this way he won recognition and glory. And so he has tried to make him leave Christianity, but he refused and was sent to the court. And he sentenced him to death through capitation. And when he took him outside the city, he turned east and prayed and thanked God for giving him a martyr's wreath. When he prayed, he put his head down and died, and released from the painful death. And this legend says that when Trifon got his Vineyard Virgin Mary passed by him, and his sister, according to the myth, with little Jesus, like a baby Jesus Christ kind of thing, and she went to read a prayer for her 40th birthday. Trifon laughed at her and swallowed the insult on On the road she passed by his wife and told her to bring bandages to her husband in the vineyard, as he had a cut on his nose. And the woman left immediately, and when Tryphon found out why is she there, he said, "How could I cut it? I took all the scissors down, not up." And in order to show her turn the scissors up, and in order to cut his nose. This is why they call him Zarazan. And the icon he depicted with scissors in hand. On the day of the saint, he performed the ritual cutting of the vines. Various rituals carried out on this day, mostly related to men, and participation of the winners only to prepare the festive tables. And the stage prepared is the even ritual bed, and chicken is roasted, which is filled with rice. In several regions of the country, mostly in northern Bulgaria, men from certain settlements wake up early and go to the vineyard where they perform the ritual cutting. And immediately after the cutting, the wines is poured on them for fertility. Another place of ritual kicking of the fruitless trees is performed, and this means kicking the trees which gave no fruits. And this is made with the purpose of the tree finally to give fruits. And after performing those rituals, the men put the dishes of their wives on the table, and the king is selected who is called Tryphon, and at some places. The elected king is given a wreath of vine sticks and carried on hands and by the other men. The elected king performs his operations for 1 year, and the next year another king is elected. So yeah, it sounds interesting. So yeah, it's like, I know there's more out there, but yeah, you kind of have to find it, kind of thing. So yeah, that's my video today, and I'll try and find out what's going on with my family and all. So yeah, I'll wrap it now.